Today we have the final ranking video for every position, which is, of course, center. If you have any ideas for future ranking videos, comment them down below, because these are a lot of fun to make and it seems like a lot of you guys always enjoy these. So again, we're ranking the best center from every NBA team. Number 30, the Hornets with Bismack Biyombo. Biyombo's been Charlotte's starting center for far too long, and the fact that he still is pretty sad. 29, the Wizards and Alex Len. The former 4th overall pick has played for 4 teams the past 2 years. Luckily for Washington though, he's been playing his best for them. At number 28, we have Robert Williams for the Celtics. The Boston Celtics still can't figure out their center problem, and even though Tristan Thompson has started more games than Williams, when on the court, Roberts has still played slightly better on both ends. 27, the Pistons and Mason Plumlee. Don't have much to say about him. Solid center, fits really good in a backup role, but for Detroit, he's been their starter. Then at 26, we have the Golden State Warriors and James Wiseman. Wiseman's now out for the season, but he still makes a list for the season that he had. He only ranks here though because it's very clear he's still got a long way to go. A ton of stats show he really hurts the Warriors when he's on the court, and it makes sense because a lot of the time, he still looks like he's not too sure of what he's doing. Will be great down the line, probably, but not yet. Then we have the Knicks at 25 with Mitchell Robinson, who also had a season-ending injury earlier this year. After the Knicks finally started giving him some more playing time and made him a starter. And Mitchell's a solid two-way player, but don't really know how much better I can see him getting. 24, the Mavs and Maxi Kleber, who's the first center on this list that can stretch the floor and really shoot the three. And as a matter of fact, he is one of the best three-point shooting big men of the entire video, and it really helped him rank this high. The 23rd spot then goes to DeAndre Jordan for the Nets. Now the Nets starting lineups are changing to something new nearly every single game, but after LaMarcus Aldridge retired, DeAndre is still the best actual center on their roster, whether he's a starter or not. Because when he is on the court, he's doing everything, setting picks, screens, rolling to the basket, setting up guys to score, staying ready for lobs and drop-off passes, and all of that's helped him shoot 77% from the field so far this year. Then we got the Kings at 22 with Richaun Holmes, and most of you guys are probably wondering why Richaun ranks at 22 because you probably haven't heard at all from him because he's on the Kings, but jokes aside, he is actually having a great season. It's the best of his career and he's only getting better. 21, the Raptors and Chris Boucher. Now for a 4th-year player to be having a semi-breakout year and playing as good as he has been, it would usually be a great sign for his future. He's averaging 13 and 6 on almost 40% from 3 as a big man, but the fact that he's already 28 years old has kinda ruined that. He had a late start, so he's in his prime right now, so it's kinda late for him to develop over the years into a real star or anything, but still a good player. 20, the Spurs and Jakob Poeltl, who's finally gotten his first real chance as a starter this year, and he's made the most of it. He's a name I know a lot of people really haven't heard of, but he's got some top tier defense and has shown signs of great ability to finish around the rim, both areas that he's really improved on this year. I don't think he's a future star or anything, to be honest, but as a role player on both ends, he's good enough to rank here. And speaking of two-way players, Jarrett Allen comes in at 19 for the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs finally fixed all their center problems, and it's given Jarrett the spotlight. He really hasn't done anything to stand out with that spotlight though, because I mean he's playing pretty much the exact same as he was in Brooklyn, which is kind of disappointing, but that doesn't mean it's the end for him because he's still only 22. At 18, Wendell Carter Jr. is also in a similar position for the Orlando Magic. He hasn't really shown any major differences on his new team this year since going from the Bulls to the Magic, but again, there's still time. He's also another two-way center that ranks here for his ability on both ends. And can we just take a minute? The Magic finally traded Nikola Vucevic after all this time, and Mo Bamba still hasn't been given a real chance to start. Instead, they gave it to the younger center. Number 17, the Pelicans and Steven Adams. Now, as we've established, stats don't always define how good a player is, especially with centers, and Steven Adams is a perfect example. He is pretty limited on offense, but the fact that he does literally everything else on the court is what makes him so valuable, and why he's remained a starting center for this long. His monster level screens and his offensive rebounding are two of his better traits that set him apart from what other centers normally do. At 16, we have the Bucks and Brook Lopez, and there's not too much exciting with him. He's solid on both ends, and he's good for Milwaukee. Stays out of the way of their other stars, but can also give you a 20 or 30 point game randomly any given night. 15, the Thunder and Al Horford. Horford's untradeable contract is stuck on this bad Thunder team, but while there, he's still been able to show that at even 34 years old, he hasn't fallen off too much, but due to his contract, he'll probably be in OKC until he does fall off. Either way though, on a contender or not, it's good to see that he's still got it. And in at number 14, we have the Blazers and Yusuf Nurkic. Now, currently, since returning from his injury that kept him out over a year, Nurkic has had a slow start, averaging career lows 10 points and 8 rebounds a game. But we know it's only because of the injury. We know that at only 26 years old, he's gonna bounce back before too long. We know what he's capable of, so I didn't let this slow start affect his ranking too much. 13, the Suns and DeAndre Ayton. At the beginning of the season, I was a little skeptical of how DeAndre Ayton had come out to start the year. He wasn't as aggressive or a bigger part of the offense as I wanted to see him. But now I think he's becoming a great complement for Devin Booker and Chris Paul, and it's clear that his game's coming along nicely and preparing for the postseason, and Phoenix is going to need that from him. So with all that said, he easily ranks in at 13. Andre Drummond's also on a contender getting ready for the playoffs with the Lakers at 12. Now I really do like him and AD KD paired together, and he's really not going to be asked to do too much playing alongside him and LeBron. He's going to be asked to score when needed, rebound a lot, and be at least solid on defense, so pretty much no different than what he's done his entire career in Detroit, just at a lesser volume. Of course his numbers are going to go down, but he'll be playing the most meaningful basketball of his career, so it's okay. On the other hand though, we have the Grizzlies at 11 with Jonas Valanciunas, and honestly I didn't think he'd ever turn out to be all that good, but he has, currently averaging career highs 17 points and 12 rebounds a game. Now he still lacks on defense, which I don't think will ever make a big turnaround for him, but he's already given Memphis way more than they could have asked for. 10, the Pacers and Miles Turner. Miles is leading the league in blocks again, which is great, and something he's done in the past, but his offensive game still isn't there and has never developed, and I don't think it ever will, but his defense was more than enough to rank him this high. For number 9, we got Clint Capella from the Hawks, and when Capella joined the Hawks, I knew it was going to be a great move after seeing how well he played alongside James Harden in Houston for all those years. I thought he'd have similar chemistry on the Hawks with Trae Young, and he has. He's averaging 15 points and almost 15 rebounds a game. He's really not your traditional center and doesn't get talked about too often, but I definitely have him as a top 10 center. Number 8, the Clippers and Serge Ibaka. This season's been an up and down one for Ibaka. He's averaging career lows and playing the least minutes of his career while he's been battling injuries. So on paper, he hasn't had a great season, but a bad year doesn't take away from the quality of player that he truly is. He's still one of the most diverse and well-rounded centers in the game today. There's not really any aspect of his game that he lacks in, and come playoff time, it's going to be on display once again. And talking about ups and downs, that'd be a good way to describe Christian Wood's season at 7 for the Rockets. He came out on fire, had that ankle injury that took him out for a while, and has come back out on fire again, averaging 21 and 10 on 38% from 3 this year. Now the Rockets have been terrible, there's no denying that. They have the worst record in the league. While Wood was supposed to be leaving Detroit to come to a contender in Houston, he ended up leaving one bad team to go to an even worse one. But it's okay because he's still got to prove that he's broken out, whether he's on a playoff team or a draft lottery team. Then in the 6th position, we have the Heat and Bam Adebayo, who's had a solid year this season, shown good signs of improvement as a scorer and a playmaker, but still looking for him to expand his shooting range. Once he does that, I think he's going to be a real star. But for now though, even though the Heat have had a weird year, Bam's still been good enough to rank just outside of the top 5 centers in the NBA. Then within the top 5 centers, Nikola Vucevic takes the Bulls spot at number 5. It's been pretty unfortunate to see that since getting traded to Chicago, Vucevic's game hasn't lost a step, but he's virtually made no difference on this Bulls team. They're still losing just as many games, and even though they got Zach LaVine another star, it hasn't been good enough. I think that's more of a Bulls problem though, which is why it really hasn't affected Nikola's ranking. Number 4, the Wolves with Karl Anthony Towns. Now Towns usually takes the 3rd spot in these centers rankings. It's the spot he's had the past couple of years, but he drops down and probably will continue to year after year as long as the Wolves are still terrible. I know he's had a real rough year personally, so I'm not going to criticize his play this year too much, but he does have to be held accountable at some point for his team's lack of success. Number 3, the Jazz and Rudy Gobert. Not much new with Gobert, but he does take the number 3 spot for being as good as usual, while also playing a huge part in the Jazz's success this season. Unlike him though, I couldn't be any happier about the progress these next 2 guys have made. The first is Joel Embiid for the 76ers at number 2. He's been out of the MVP race due to injuries, but when healthy, he still definitely is playing like one, averaging career best 29 and 11. And this isn't just a great year where he may or may not go back to playing like normal next season. This is who he is now. He's finally realized how big and strong he actually is on the court and what he can really do. It took him a while, but now he's there, so expect this for years to come. But on the other hand, I don't really know what clicked for Nikola Jokic at number 1 for the Nuggets, who in my opinion is the league MVP this year. He's remained healthy, led his team to wins, and is continuing to do so without Jamal Murray. He's made major improvements in every aspect of his game and is almost averaging a 27 point per game triple-double while doing it. And this season has been more than just a natural progression of his game from hard work and practice, because again, something clicked for him and I don't know what it was. But comment down below if you agree with this list, and if you also think Jokic is this year's league MVP. If not, comment and let me know who you got instead. Drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you next video.